I don't know how to put it into words. There's a part of me that's still in disbelief that it actually happened, that they won the game, even though they are the most threatening team when it comes to fourth quarter comebacks. And yet, for whatever reason, this one seemed the most improbable out of everything we've seen.
Yeah, well, it was because that halftime deficit was big time. It's 21-3. They do get the advantage of a missed kick there, the first of many from Brandon McManus on Saturday night, and I feel like that gave them a small sliver of hope. And this team doesn't need much. It just needs a little bit of a reason to believe that they're still in a football game. We just got done today here at House Hall talking to Tremaine Edmonds about the sort of psychological lift for a defense of knowing that Caleb Williams is on your side, because even down 18 points, you can go and say, hey, we've got a chance here. If we can just do our part and get a few stops and get the ball back in the hands of our offense, they can go make magic happen. They've done it all season. And so that lift psychologically of having that guy on your side is enormous. And I think that what was so sort of, you know, perfectly fitting about Saturday night is the Packers were the team that did that to the Bears forever. They had Rodgers just ripping their heart out over and over and over again. And now it's like, oh, wait, that guy's in the Bears huddle and the Packers don't have an answer for it. And the sort of the symbolic sort of shifting of momentum in this rivalry, you can feel it now. And clearly the edge is back with the head coach of the Bears dropping the F-bomb to talk about the Packers in the locker room, and then softening the sentiment a little bit today, or softening the verbiage today, but not the sentiment,
Oh,
and saying, I don't like that team.
yeah, Dan, you say that, but I don't feel like anything got softened today. I think he
No,
was just
no,
in
it's
front of
not
a
softened, no.
microphone. That's all, as opposed to with his players. I think that's probably the most, not shocking thing, but the most. That's the thing I'll probably remember the most. Like, obviously the comeback itself, but I did a thing where I talked about the top 3 moments after the whistle. And I was like, obviously, Caleb Williams grating cheese on the prime post-game set, the post-game handshake, which was point however many seconds, less than a second. And then what he said in front of Kevin Warren, of all people, in the locker room. Like, I think this has taken another level to it. That's what Ben Johnson has done with this rivalry.
It's what he's done with everything. It's add edge, right? Like, it's add edge to what you're doing, and add passion and add purpose. And look, like the only way this becomes a rivalry is if it's competitive. And the Bears have now beaten Green Bay 3 times as of Saturday night in 370 days. Before that, they had beaten them 3 times since 2013. And so that's what shifts the rivalry. It's why they have Green Bay's attention right now. You can feel in the rhetoric from up there in Wisconsin how on notice they are and how on alert they are that the Bears have come for them, and now have taken the North as they promised they would, and now are threatening to never give it back. And so look, like it's a real deal now, and that playoff game adds to it. The head coach's animosity with one another adds to it. It's a lot of fun. It's what sports rivalries should be, and the Bears are for once on the right side of it.
And Dan and I will be doing a fresh podcast tonight as well. That will drop tonight as well. So there's the initial reaction. You could check that out right now. But this is a no messing around week, so we will find a way to record. Dan, how much of this game was, and specifically the second half, and I'm talking more about the defense when I ask this question, Bears stepping up versus the Packers choking this game away? What do you say about that?
Yeah, I may have to take some time to rewatch it in full to do the pie chart on that. But certainly, here's what I think goes into this, Grote. It's a team that has a documented history of coming back is capable of applying pressure on opponents that then makes them feel really, really anxious. And you could feel it Saturday night, some point in the third quarter. Even though the Bears weren't scoring, the defense was stepping up, and Green Bay had kind of lost that full surge of momentum that they had offensively in the first half. And look, I talked to Colston Loveland about it in the locker room afterwards. There were just certain points where you looked up at the clock and you're like, you do the math and you're like, okay, there's still plenty of time here. You're like, they're going to get enough possessions to have their say in this game. And sure enough, the defense kept getting them the ball. The offense finally in the fourth quarter exploded. They scored 25 points in the fourth quarter alone. And you just like, I just think that there is an element of the pressure that the Bears apply with who they are as comeback, experts now, that other teams feel. And that's very real. And I think that's something that's going to work in their favor, not only this weekend against the Rams, but next year as well.
I think, Dan, it's as storytellers, to me, it makes the most sense. It's the most drawable story. We haven't talked about it as much because today is a day for just pure trolling and celebration
and love.
and love. Yeah, as
Loveland.
somebody just said on Twitter, by the way, find someone that looks at you the way Grote looks at Dan Wiederer.
The picture.
That's from Woods on Twitter. So there's that, because you do look at him lovingly and you're holding the microphone up to him as if he's speaking.
Well, it's shocking that, like, usually when you're at the mercy of somebody else taking a picture of you, it never turns out the way you want it to. I will say Greenberg did catch a nice smiley picture of us.
That's Greenberg, man.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So
Guys, that's what team chemistry looks like. That picture is what team chemistry
we
looks
just
like.
became a team today. But I do think that Ben Johnson giving that nugget about watching the 28-3 game, how do you not understand that probably colors every single comeback that we've talked about? Like, I'd want to get on the phone with Grady Jarrett immediately to ask, what the hell did you say to these guys at training camp? Because my God, has it worked?
Yeah, and who knows what Joe Tooney said as well in terms of the ability to have that mindset of rallying and look like when you have quarterbacks that are capable of making gifted plays over and over and over again, it gives you a chance. I know everybody has spent the last 38, 40 hours talking about Caleb Williams' fourth down throw to Rome Odunze with good reason. I mean, it is a throw you will remember forever, not just because of the athleticism of it, but because of the situation of it and understanding that the game is hanging by a thread. And the coach gets on the headset and says, hey, I need you here. Go make a play, kid. And then Caleb says, okay, watch this. On an off script, sort of scramble to his left, being able to put that kind of strength and touch on a football into a window that's pretty small and a place where his receiver can go get it. It's legendary stuff, right? And that's what Saturday night was in that comeback. It was legendary football. And so now you try to stamp further legitimacy on it by following up this week with a better performance overall against the Rams. And then the next thing you know, you might be in the NFC Championship game. And lo and behold, if all breaks your way, you may be hosting that NFC Championship game.
I know we're talking on Monday, and it's supposed to be more reflective than looking ahead, but I don't know if I'm going to talk to you again this week, Dan. So I got to ask you, how are you seeing the initial matchup with the Rams? I would like to see the Eagles at Soldier Field because they're so wildly inconsistent. It matches the Bears' inconsistency, and now that inconsistency has cost them a playoff spot. And I like the idea of the Rams coming here after beating the Seahawks for the NFC Championship game. They're going to get the Rams earlier than that. I like this matchup too, though, for a Bears team that is largely Jekyll and Hyde.
Well, on the topic of the Eagles, not only inconsistent, but bad vibes, really bad vibes for that team. And I think that certainly cost them in the end. And you felt that a little bit yesterday. As far as the Rams go, you have to be a little bit nervous if you're the Bears defense and understanding what you're dealing with. You're dealing with a very accomplished quarterback who's very smart, very skilled. If Matthew Stafford is indeed fully healthy, he's going to present some problems. And he's also going to present problems with the two guys he throws the football to the most, Devontae Adams, who Bears fans know really well, and Puka Nacua, who they'll get to know really well on Sunday when he visits Soldier Field. And it's going to be a challenge for a secondary that hasn't done a great job of limiting the explosive plays. These guys can hit you in bunches with those if you're not careful. And so that part of the matchup is going to be fascinating. We're going to get a chance later in the week to talk to Dennis Allen, who's been on the wrong end of Puka Nacua before. He'll probably give us a little bit of insight into why he's such a difficult cover. And they're going to have to find answers within the game plan to do better than they did in the first half. Because guys, trust me, at 21-0 or 21-3 in the first half Saturday night, no one in the building felt like that defense was going to stand up enough to win that football game. And yet they found some answers in the second half. And here we are talking about a matchup with the Rams.
Yeah, no doubt. And their defense is nothing special. So I expect that Caleb will be able to do some damage against them. What did you think about Caleb Williams and being demonstrative on the sideline and kind of the way Ben Johnson is talking about it as well? I feel like he's kind of earned that. I didn't have a problem with it, Dan. What did you think about Caleb being all loud on the sideline?
Yeah, we don't get that view in real time up in the press box,
Right.
as you know, Grote. So you're going off hearsay until you go back and rewatch it, and then you hear the coach today talk about just the message of what Caleb was trying to get across. It didn't seem by anyone's reports within the Bears organization that it was a finger pointing session as much as a, hey, we got to get this short up quickly or our season's over. And so when we're on the different pages on certain routes, on certain plays, and it results in a fourth down interception, we got to get that ironed out quickly. Otherwise, we're going to be packing up black hefty bags in the locker room on Sunday morning, and you don't want to be doing that. It's one of the worst feelings a team has every year is getting ready to clean out those lockers. And so the Bears were able to find answers and we'll get to hear from Caleb later in the week, see if he's reflected at all on that, and maybe some of his teammates as well. But it didn't seem like it was overly emotional as much as it was a cry for urgency and a cry for detail, which is what the head coach has been preaching from the day he walked in here, 12 months ago.
We're talking to Dan Wiederer, the Cedar writer for The Athletic, here on Rahimi, Harrison, Grote on 670 The Score, and the co-host of the Take the North podcast. We asked this question amongst ourselves, Dan. At what point you thought the game was over? And at what point you thought there were signs of life? What were those for you?
21-3 is when I thought it was over, when they went for it on fourth down, deep in their own territory, didn't get it, and the Packers just quickly turned that into their third consecutive touchdown drive without much resistance. That was just like, okay, great season, well done, and here we go. You're going to have to find signs of life. I just thought the third quarter, you felt like progressively you could feel Green Bay getting tighter. You could just feel it in the building. And then when that crowd starts to sense that they're alive and starts to build that energy, as soon as the Bears score their first touchdown, now you're like, okay, this is a real game now. And now you go about, fashioning the rest of your comeback. Unfortunately, it included a touchdown there by the Packers where the Bears didn't tackle Matthew Golden very well. And then that for another moment, you were like, well, they let another opportunity slip away. And then, it all broke loose to the point where, all of us that have been in that press box many, many, many times over the years felt it shake more than we ever had before. I think the first time I felt it shake was 3 weeks ago when they beat the Packers the last time, and now it's shaking on a regular basis. And maybe that's a credit to the crowd, and maybe the structure of the Soldier Field press box needs a little bit of investigation.
Maybe it could be structural issues, and that's why the shaking. Well, may I submit one more thing or moment to where I thought the Bears were going to lose, since Layla brought it up and Dan answered it well. A guy or a play or a moment that we have not mentioned on this show today. Third quarter, 21-6 Green Bay. 6'5", 322-pound Darian Kennard catches a ball. He's got 10 yards out of it, but he fumbles it. And this is your big opportunity. This is it. And Dexter he kicks it out of bounds. I'm like, that's it. This game is over.
It was overzealous, Gervon Dexter there, Grote.
Yes.
Like watching that from the bird's eye view that we have, it was like, oh God, just relax as you go to dive on that football.
That's it.
And it went squirting away, and that was it. And that was one of 4 Packers fumbles that the Bears did not recover on Saturday night. I had a story all ready. Missed opportunities. There was a bullet pointed list of 12 things on that list about this how the Bears season died because they missed all these opportunities. That was one of them, and obviously they were able to hit a few opportunities late in the game to change that storyline, and that's what we call a rewrite here in our business.
Yeah,
and
that made me want to watch
until about 2 a.m.
That made me want to watch Gervon Dexter like belly flop into a pool, because that's what he looked like he was doing when he tried to dive on the ball.
He was all arms and legs, and he's 6'6".
Yeah, he's a big one.
And he was so excited, like you could feel the excitement. The ball, there's the ball.
Oh,
ball! And it goes flying, and it's similar. And they had the fumble on Christian Watson in the first half where Tyreek Stevenson makes the hit, and it's laying there in the end zone, and Kevin Byard is just like a split second slow to notice and isn't able to get on it, and then I think on the very next play after that ball gets moved back to the 1. Kyler Gordon's got a chance at an interception. He doesn't make it. And you're just like, man, like they can't get anything to bounce their way tonight. I don't think this is going to be their night. And this is going to be a real painful end to a magical season. As we all know, it was not a painful end to a magical season. The magical season lives on.
It does indeed. Dan Wiederer, thanks as always for coming on with us today on this Victory Monday.
Thanks, Dan.
Can't believe it.
All right.
See you, buddy.
I'll talk to you later. I'll see if Greenberg can come by and take some shots.
Let's be adorable, buddy.
Adorbs.